Okay. Oh, I'm live. We're live. All right. Hey, this is Danielle, founder of Black Business Boom, and I am here with Jamel from Gideon's Army. Good folks over at Gideon's Army doing amazing work here in Nashville. So I first want to say thank you for all that you guys are doing here in the Nashville community. But I am really excited to hear about what's coming up with the Black Assembly, especially because, I mean, just in the times we're living in, it's important that we're coming together and we're being heard. So, Jamel, tell me a little bit about what is the Black Assembly?
For sure, and I want to say, like, before we get started, like, thank you for letting me on to this platform.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm humbled to be in these spaces, and so I just wanted to say, like, I'm extremely grateful.
Yes,
But
I appreciate you for joining me. So,
for sure, and I'll be also remiss if I didn't say, like, Gideon's Army is a full team effort. So let me shout out Rashida, Hambino, LT, Larry Turnley, Chef Mike True, Darius, Mario, the whole Gideon's Army squad, the volunteers. I just want to make sure I hold space for them as well.
yeah.
Um, but the Black Nashville Assembly is being, like, hosted by the Black organizations that are inside of a coalition that we have been in for the past year. That is the Nashville People's Budget Coalition, which is really centered on creating a participatory process when it comes to the Nashville budget and where our tax dollars go. And before we really get into Black Nashville Assembly, I want to tell everybody out there listening to my voice is, like, spread the message. We got freedom now. Like, I think you were talking about the times that we live in, and what Black folks in Nashville, our unique position in this city is very much so we are going to be called on to, like, lead us out of where we are now. So because of that, there's tremendous opportunity to really get our needs and our demands met. And so the Black Nashville Assembly, for the past 3 months, we have been the Nashville People's Budget Coalition have been doing people's movement assemblies, and what people's movement assemblies do across the globe is three things: like create an area for collective participation and commitment, build collective analysis, and then create collective action. And so those are three things we're hoping to do with the Black Nashville Assembly. Like I said, freedom is on the horizon, but it's going to take work to get that freedom. And so we're really hoping to get as many Black folks as possible, both in real life at Halley Park or on Zoom. And we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to isolate the top three issues that affect Black Nashvillians. We're
Mm.
going to really analyze our solutions. And then three, we're going to create a collective game plan moving forward. And then we're going to constantly be doing that across the city. And then hopefully by the next budget season, we'll have a strong platform. We'll also have essentially a Black agenda so that we can start building out a Black table. And that Black agenda, if we do it right, will have ownership from the majority of Black folks in Nashville. So we're really hoping to use the Black Nashville Assembly as a participatory democracy process that we can get as many Black folks in Nashville, not only isolating the top three issues, but building community and collective analysis on solutions to our issues.
That is amazing. And I think that we've all been waiting on someone to kind of step up and make this happen. You know, somebody had to spearhead making this happen. So I'm really proud that Gideon's Army has not only stepped up, but has a plan for how we're going to come together and make this happen. So I'm really excited that you all are bringing us together for this assembly. Now, for those top three issues for Black people in Nashville, do you all have a list for us to choose from, or should we come with our ideas for what we feel like those top three things are?
For sure, I will say I'm gonna answer in reverse. Definitely come with the ideas. You know what I'm saying? The assembly is going to require, like, participation and commitment from all Black folks across all genders, class, sexuality, ethnicity, disability, all of that, economic status. We're gonna need everybody if we're gonna really take ownership of this from a grassroots level. It's going to take every single perspective, every spectrum of blackness to be there and participate, as many as possible. And then second, if you register for the BMA, if you visit bit.ly/615BNA, you can actually start, you can just like give us the top 3 issues off the top of your head. So that when we get there, what we'll do is we'll have something similar to like a round of voting, and like really hone in on those 3 things. And like even to move it forward even further, by building it out that way, we'll have full community participation, right? Because the way our government is set up, and this is through my personal experience with organizing around the budget, it's not made for a working class person to participate in. And if I could use an example, last year, the way our city government is laid out, like the budget can be presented by the mayor and the chair of the finance committee. So just to give you an idea, is the potential or the like the budget that was presented last year, like if you weren't an accountant or you just had like a regular 9 to 5 jobs, or you might have had like 2 or 3 jobs, or you might have kids, like it would have been very difficult for you to understand where your money is going. That's not a participatory democracy, right? So at the root of the Nashville People's Budget Coalition and at the Black Assembly is about making sure that we are participating, setting the agenda, and making sure we're holding our political officials accountable when it comes to our agenda. And I also want to hold right here is that the groups that are involved are very strong when it comes to Black leadership. So it's not only Gideon's Army, it's Free Hearts, uh, Don Harrington, Jacola Lane. It's also Black Lives Matter Nashville. It's also Song, Southerners on New Ground Nashville, Lawyer for Black Lives. So we have like a lot of like grassroots Black-led organizations who are really trying to throw down on getting our people together for community consensus and also unity, right? A lot of times with unity, and I think this is cleared up. A lot of times with unity, what people mean is uniformity, right? I mean, people are thinking like we want everybody the same. No, literally, what we want to do is we want to study to skill up, struggle through analyzing the issue, and then unite over what we can agree on. And I think by doing that, we actually are able to have an agenda that's reflective of a broad range of Black Nashvillians.
I love it. Now, I know there's been a lot of talk with the Nashville People's Budget Coalition about defunding the police. So I wanted, while I have you here, I want to just really get an understanding of that call to defund the police, because I think a lot of people are confused about what that means and what that would mean for our community. So can you give us a little bit of information about how that would look, what that would mean to our communities to defund the police?
Yeah, and I think that'll cause a backtrack. And like when we talk about defunding, I know that like takes over the realm. I do want to say like the Black Nashville Assembly is about holding Blackness in all of its glory. So we're not expecting people to come with a very specific political analysis or very specific framework. What we're expecting for people to come is like in love for Black folks in Nashville. Like that's literally all you have to be. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to say that before I answered the question about defund, because defund is very much so a particular politic for myself. So rewind, right? When we talk about the budget and how our last year's budget was kind of laid out, or this year's budget, it's crazy. It feels like it's been a couple years, but the way that budget was laid out, every single department was being asked to tighten its belt, except one, and that was the police. So if we want anything, right, whether it be fully funded schools, Medicare for all, free child care, increased mental health, it's only gonna be able to come from one place. And that is because we have overinvested in policing. We've overinvested in prisons, in cages, and locking our people up and keeping our folks attached to like cash money bail. We've overinvested and over relied on those things while our schools have been divested from, while our city infrastructure is being broken down. So at the core of the defunding of the police is we need to start radically imagining what keeps our community safe, right? Because fully funded schools is important to the safety of our community. But if we want fully funded schools, it's only one place that it's going to be able to come out of. And so that's at the core of the defunding. It's really about making sure like we can radically imagine what it is that we want from our when it comes to our safety. Because and I'm from 37208. I was born in 1989. Most of my peers that were born around the same time as I was are the ones that were being thrown in jail in 37208 when it had the highest incarceration rate, right? We talk about that, but if we drill it even further down, it had the highest incarceration rate for Black men born in the 80s, my generation, right? So I have a very real, me and my peers have a very real understanding of what it looks like when we are using police to like help fill the gaps in other areas, right? We're using police to solve poverty. And that's just not, and what ends up happening is Black community members end up being hurt very simply, like on a generational level. So what I'm really hoping that we can do with this BNA is, like I said before, we're really hoping we can unify around our agenda, do a collective analysis, and find out not only what role do we want to play in the solutions, but what role do we want our public officials to play in those solutions, and how are we going to hold those folks accountable. Like I said before, if you want a grocery store in your corner and you want your state government to pay for it, do you want it to come out of housing? It can't, because housing is already having to cut their budget. It's only going to be able to come out of one area. So I think it's like defunding of the police is the reality, because we have poured so much money. And if I can nerd out real fast, then I'm just like curious of what you go. I'm a nerd. So like the LBJ Omnibus Safe Street 1967 Safe Street Act and the 1994 Clinton crime bill poured millions of dollars into police precincts to try across our country to try to improve the community relationship with them. But we're still being murdered at a disproportionate rate. So we also need to try something new. So that's why the Black Nashville Assembly is really about unity. How can we unify over these issues? How can we build collective analysis? How can we build community governance? And then how can we present that to our public officials and also hold them accountable to the agenda that Black Nashville needs?
No, I love it, because we can't allow them to keep giving us what they think we want. They're thinking, oh, we're gonna do this. This will make the Blacks happy. Like so. And this year, especially, we've seen government and corporations grasping for straws, trying to figure out how to make us happy. And the main question that I've had is, what do we want?
For sure.
How are we going to come together and ask for what we want and demand that we get it? So that's why this is so important. And I love what you said about this being about those that have a love for Black Nashville, because that's what all of this is about. That's what my Facebook group is about. We have to unify. We have to come together. I'm not even from Nashville. I'm from Chicago, but I've been here long enough to understand that we need to show up better in our communities here in Nashville. And we can't allow them to keep trying to figure out fixes for us. We have to figure it out for ourselves, and then we have to demand that they meet us where we want to be. So
for sure,
I'm really excited. So everybody who is tuning in, next Saturday, September 12th, is going to be the Black Nashville Assembly. The first order of business will be to identify the top 3 issues for Black Nashvillians. So this is really important, and everyone said we have these conversations online about what we need, and we should be doing this, and we should be doing that. But this is the time to actually show up, have your voice heard, unify as a community, and ensure that we're going after what's going to make our communities better and stronger. So the link is there. It is bit.ly slash BNA 615, right?
I think so. I think it might be 615 BNA.
Okay. Well, let me make sure I put the right link there. But yep, okay, 615 BNA. Yep, that's it. All right. So it's there.
That's it. Okay.
Yep, go and register. I'm dropping it in the comments again, just in case. Go and register. It will be an in-person and virtual event. So you can go and you can register and show up in person next Saturday, or tune in via Zoom online. So go and register. This is really important. And again, I'm very proud of the organizations that are coming together to make this happen for our community, because somebody had to step up and make some things happen for us. So again, the Black Nashville Assembly is Saturday, September 12th. You can attend via Zoom or in person. Anything else you want to make sure folks know, Jamel?
Yeah, so if you're coming in person, please make sure you bring a chair and a mask. We'll have like snacks. We'll also have a food truck there. If you want to come in person, but you still want to socially distance, we'll have the cars. The cars will be allowed to be in view of the stage and can hear. So we'll also have a section very specifically that's like dedicated to people wanting to stay in their cars. We'll have a section where people can come out and hang out. People can stand. So we're gonna make sure like we're definitely like it's definitely a safe space for our people in this time as well.
Yeah, and it's Saturday. It's at Hadley Park.
It's at Hadley Park, and hopefully, like the BNAs, we're gonna travel and go to other areas. The reason why we wanted to start in North Nashville is because North Nashville has all the issues that the city is experiencing. Right? We have high concentrations of poverty. We have like gun violence. We have like a lot of things that are happening in North Nashville, and that is not that's not indicting the people or the black folks who are still remaining there. That's really an indictment of how racist and anti-black the city has been, and very much so. I mean, if we even talk about like I-40, like I-40 being built straight through the middle of North Nashville, like essentially dead-ended North Nashville, right? It destroyed 620 black homes, 27 apartment buildings, 6 black churches, and it dead-ended over 50 streets. So we know what it looks like when like racist city planning like destroys our community and leaves it economically deprived.
Yeah.
But what I want to say is like it's time, right?
Oh yeah, it's time for sure.
If it's gonna get fixed in Nashville, it's gonna come out of North Nashville first. And so it's like we have so much history from hot chicken all the way to like our HBCUs and our folks in North Nashville really taking the lead in the civil rights movement. So it's gonna come out of North Nashville. So this first one, I think, is like really extremely important. And if people want to participate, like come through. Like, what are you rocking with? Bring your opinion. Be ready for dialogue, not debate. Right? With debate, you got 2 polar ends, and one is trying to convince the other one to come over to his side. With dialogue, it's understanding you're meeting in the middle. So come with that ability to dialogue, come with that black love on your mind for your brother and your sister. Chair, mask, and we all good, because we're gonna definitely get intimate. We're gonna have very like good facilitated conversations, and we're gonna leave out with a collective community vision which I really hope will provide black folks, my peers, with a little bit of hope going into 2021.
I love it. Well, I am excited. I can't wait until next Saturday. I'm really excited about the fact that you said I could stay in my car and participate, so that makes it even better. But for those that don't want to do that, make sure that you tune in on Zoom. So if you don't want to come out, if you're still very much social distancing, that they have accommodated that, and you can join via Zoom and still take part in the conversation. So I'm excited. If you're tuning in, the link to register is in the comments as well as in this post. At the top of the post, you should see it. And then feel free to drop what you think those top 3 issues are in the comments as well. Let's get this conversation going, but let's not just do it here. Let's show up next Saturday where we can actually come together and mobilize on what we really truly think is plaguing our community. So I'm really excited, Jamel. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you guys next Saturday.
Appreciate you. Yo, love you, Black family.